Hi, and welcome to Rossi Audio again. Today we're going to take up a topic that I know a lot of people have gotten burned and stung from. And it is all these scams that are running around. I don't care what the product is, but because we are in the audio business and because we deal with vintage audio or newer audio or whatever, that's where I'm going to focus. and when I say avoid the scams, there's scams all over the place. You can't get away from it. There are scams in new products sold by dealers. So if you are a buyer of new stereo, hi-fi audio equipment, it is important that you do your homework, find the right dealer, do price comparisons online before you go to the store. Don't let them gouge you. Don't let them mislead you or misguide you so you spend more money. Check up online. Talk to people in forums and groups, and get an opinion on what you need and what you really basically need. Not what you can get, but what you need. And avoid over hyper sellers. Sellers in the audio business is exactly the same as sellers in the car business and the used car business. You know, a seller is a seller. He wants to sell you anything and everything if he can for any price. So, as a buyer, be aware. Always go with your gut feeling. Don't follow your heart because, trust me, you can burn yourself a lot on that. Also, go online and check out reviews for that specific store if you go to a store and buy new stuff. So it is easy to get scammed by stores and sellers when you buy new, but the scam also starts before that. But it's kind of like a legal scam where manufacturers manipulate their specification fact sheets and stuff like that, and they changed the standards way back without telling people, so now they're measuring and creating the fact sheets based on a different method than what they did 40 years ago. So if you were used to buying stuff that was measured and by the manufacturer to a certain standard, just be aware that in the mid-90s and early 2000s somewhere, they changed the standard on how to measure things. So the data in the spec sheet is not the same as it was 20 years earlier. Is that a scam? Well, if they don't tell you, if the branch and the business and the audio community of manufacturers didn't go out publicly to tell people that they did. So that's in a way, it's kind of like if you're not saying it and you're changing it and you make people believe that, oh, the specifications on this product compared to a 20, 30-year-old one is way better, but it's not, because if they had been measured and tested within the same standard, the old one might be better. So in my eyes, that is kind of a scam, although it's a legal scam because they just changed the method of testing. Okay. The biggest scam right now is, or that has always been on the private market. That's where you're going to run into the biggest risk of being scammed out of your hard-earned money. And these sellers are going to waste your time, months sometimes. These scams can go over months. You pay for something and the seller just jabba with you for a month or two and nothing happens. You never receive a product. I have seen this lately many times on Facebook. This goes for hi-fi, car audio, pro audio, but especially car audio. I'm a member of a lot of car audio groups, and I see it more and more often that people are being scammed in this group on Facebook, where they pay in advance and they get no product. or they get a product that is not as described. It's a total piece of junk. Well, first of all, it's your own responsibility not to get scammed, okay? So if you get scammed, I don't feel sorry for you one bit. If you let yourself be scammed, you freaking deserves it. So if you set yourself up for a scam and someone scams you, don't go out in the group and bitch about it, because it's your own fault. And here's why. If a seller tells you that the only way of the paying method that he will accept is either one, wire transfer, which you can maybe in some cases with some banks, maybe you have a chance, but not likely. So you do a wire transfer, or you do a Western Union transfer, or money order transfer. If you do any of those three, you're setting yourself up for a scam big time. Big time. And if you choose to enter the deal on those terms that the seller sets, that the payment has to be done in either of those two or three ways, you are accepting the risk of being scammed. You're telling yourself and you're telling the seller, come on, scam me, because I have no way of getting my money back. I have no security. And whatever, you can maybe say, well, I can always contact the cops. What if the seller sends you a box of bricks and you don't think about it? It weighs what it should weigh. You open it up. You don't take any video or pictures while you're opening up. And as soon as you have broken the seal on the box and you have no evidence to back that up, it's word against word. So here is how you avoid to be scammed. Be a member of several groups. Check out if you are entering a deal with someone. Ask around in different groups. Have anyone done a deal with this person before? And how was it? What was your experience? That should be number one thing. The number two thing is, don't jump into the deal right away. Talk to the seller. Check out his profile. Do some background check on the product. Ask for serial numbers. Ask for more pictures. Ask for detailed pictures. And Google it. Get as much information as you can on the product. And listen to what the seller says and compare those two things up against each other. A seller who knows what he's selling should be spot on every time. I have seen sellers selling items they don't know jack shit about, and what they're saying about the product is wrong. And the buyer is so caught up in the moment because he thinks he's getting a great deal, so he's not checking up the product. So he's accepting the product the way the seller explains it to be. Always get it in writing that it is in working condition if that's what you're buying. If you're buying a non-working condition, get the seller to explain what's wrong with it. Save all correspondence that you have with the buyer or the seller or whatever. If you are having a lot of PMs and private messages on Facebook, always save them. Even do print screens and do backup saves. And of course, the most important thing of all, do a sales contract online, for God's sake. I know you can go like, huh? Sales contract? Sales contract online is a little bit different than a regular sales contract where people sign it with their handwriting. Okay? You can do that online too. You can ask the seller to print it out, sign it, and scan it and send it back to you. But sometimes it is often enough that you ask the seller that you set up, you make a Word document, and where both reads it, initials it, and with a digital signature, and sends it back, and then send you a text message on phone saying that according to sales contract that you sent me via email, that I read and initialed digitally, I accept those terms. Have him say that in a text message to you. This means you have to have his phone number and he has to have yours. But I accept and assume that you have to have that anyway. Now to the most important part, payment. Never ever pay for a product without having any type of security, because it's your money. But as soon as the money leaves your pocket, bank account, PayPal, whatever, it's no longer your money. It is the free-floating digital world out there who is controlling the money. You have no control of that money. You have to rely on others to maybe, possibly, get that money back if something bad happens. This is why I say always use PayPal. And if possible, ask the seller to post the item for sale on eBay. Most sellers that sell stuff like this have an eBay account. Tell them that, you know what, I really want your product, but I would be a little bit more safe and secure and feeling good about it if you could post it on eBay for sale. If he comes back with, well, I don't have an eBay account, then you go, okay, I want to pay for it with PayPal, and I want to pay for it as buying a merchandise. I'm not transferring the money as a friend or family or relative, because if you do, you cannot get your money back. So you have to transfer the money via the PayPal account as buying a merchandise. If the seller does not have a PayPal account, does not have an eBay account, all he has is a Facebook account, and he's selling a product and he wants prepayment, either in the form of a money order, Western Union, or a wire transfer or something like that, in a way that you have no control over to get your money back. If that is the terms of the seller, you better turn around and walk away pretty darn fast. And you better also tell the rest of the group what just happened and make them aware that that seller cannot be trusted. Because if that's the only way the seller can sell you a product and get paid, take a hike right away. Talk to admins. Look into if you can get a block on him in that group, because he is likely, most likely, out there to scam. We have seen it many times. I have lost count of how many times I jump into a car audio group on Facebook and I see someone doing the laundry list in the group. I mean, there's correspondence between buyer and seller that goes on and on and on. And there's several of these every week where I haven't gotten my product, I haven't gotten what I paid for. What do I do now? I transfer money via Western Union. Come on. How freaking stupid are you guys as buyers? If you don't want to get scammed, you better start with yourself and how you think and how you do things. Because if you accept the terms that the seller puts out there, you are just as much at fault as the seller when it comes to the scam. Because only one person in this world can prevent you from being scammed, and that's yourself. I have no sympathy for people who get scammed that way, because you jumped into it, both feet, blind as a bat, and you swallow the camels that the seller fed you. I see it every time. There's always this wire transfer, Western Union, money order, cashier checks. Really? You have no way of knowing from common sense and logic that what you're doing is risky. You're basically taking money out of your pocket or your bank account or whatever, and you're handing it to a stranger living thousands of miles away, hoping that one day soon you will receive a package in the mail. Are you really that gullible? Are you really that stupid? The smart one is the seller, if you look at it that way, because he just managed to scam a whole bunch of people. And probably nothing is going to happen to him. Because you don't preserve evidence, you don't preserve a way of getting your money back. And you might as well go to the police and say, hey, I paid for a product, he didn't send it to me, blah, blah, blah. I have had a conversation with him going on for 2 months, 3 months. And the police is going to go say, most likely they're going to say, well, it's a civil matter. Or they're going to say, well, we'll look into it. And the seller might say, you know what, I sent it to him, and he shows maybe a shipping receipt or something like that, and he maybe sent you a box with something stupid in it that weighs around the same as the amp. Your word against his. So you are the one who allows others to scam you. So don't blame the scammers. Blame yourself. The only way we as a community on Facebook and eBay and other sales sites online can stop the scammers is by stopping ourselves from letting ourselves being scammed. Because that's what we're doing. We're setting ourselves up to be scammed. That's all there is to it. And we have to start cleaning up the groups. These people who are sellers, who scam people, I have no sympathy for them either. They should be somewhere else than sitting at home and on Facebook. So let's start doing this. Let's expose them. Let's block them and get them out of here. But there will always be new ones. So this is an ongoing thing. And then at the same time, we have you and everyone else who buy stuff on Facebook or other places have to stop setting yourself up as a victim. I never buy on Facebook. I only buy on eBay. Because 1, I have eBay protection. 2, I have PayPal protection. In 99.9% of the time, it works. If you buy something on Facebook via money order, cashier check, Western Union, wire transfer, you have a 0.1% chance of protection. Basically meaning you have no protection. So, stop being scammed. Stop buying and paying for products without security. Don't take risks. Don't listen to strangers unless they can verify every freaking thing they say. And even then, you have to take it with a grain of salt. So you see, the topic of being scammed is not the seller. It doesn't label the seller. Because without gullible, buyers, there wouldn't be sellers. So stop being scammed. Start doing business the right way. Secure yourself.